Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Lisa, and today I have a piece of mixed media art for you. I'm working with a stencil of a wood grain and putting some acrylic paint down on my 8x10 MDF board, and I'm just going all over the back here. The MDF board was spray painted with black first, so I had that base coat and I wanted to make this feel like a wood grain. So this technique came to me one night when I was supposed to be sleeping, and I thought, well, I would try it. The paint first down is burnt sienna, and the second tan color is a khaki color by Apple Barrel. And I'm just putting it all over the back, and I'm going to do a reverse stencil technique. So I'm pulling the paint through the stencil with my damp towel there and seeing if I can make a cool design on the background. It worked for me. I liked it. I was trying to see if I could make it match up here on the bottom, and when I am putting down all my elements, I know that we won't see that line there, and I'm just blending it a little bit with my finger. I'll set that aside to dry, and then I'm going to try and save some of the paint that was on that stencil and give it a press to my parchment paper here with my damp towel, and getting that wood grain impression on the paper. I thought, well, it might be something that we can use in the future. I'm using a die that I purchased at Let's Create, and it is called I don't see the name on here. Oh, I'm sorry. Honeycomb Background. And it's by Memory Box. And I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to set that aside while I work on the background. The wood panel background is dry, and I wanted to add some lighter color there to the background, and I'm using some parchment colored acrylic ink. Just putting it on my brayer and using my brush. Now I'm using my damp towel to remove a little bit of that parchment paper color. I was liking it but not loving it, and here I'm going to put down those 3 die cuts that I cut out with that die. I used my die cutting machine, and I'm going to adhere it with my matte gel. It's a little bit stickier than the regular matte medium. So I'm just adding that with my brush, and I have a piece of glossy paper there so it won't stick, and adding another little layer over the top with my brush, dabbing it in there so I don't rip it. I really like this die. I think I'll use it in another project, an art journal project that I have in mind with some bees, and I thought that that would make a really cool corner background. Like I said, I wasn't really sure where this project was going. I just knew what I was using for a sentiment, and I knew the size of the piece that I wanted to do. So it was kind of a free-for-all, and in the end it did turn out. I liked it. I've had quite a few comments of people that have seen it, and they said that it was good, it was nice. Not maybe one of my best pieces, but you never know how it's gonna go. So now I thought I would use some super heavy gesso and mix it with that parchment paper color of acrylic paint, and I thought I would try and use the skimming technique and just try and incorporate that honeycomb with the background, and we're going to add some texture and of course a little bit of lightening up of that dark background. Feel that I got a little bit too much again, so using my trusty damp towel that I keep on the side as I'm creating, and I'm wiping a little bit back. Then I went back with my palette knife and kind of pounced it on the edges there, giving it some texture and smoothing a little bit with my finger. I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out at this point. I have a stencil that I used, and it has welcome home, and on here part of it says home is where the heart is. And I really felt that this year over the holidays, going to friends' house, and they really made me feel welcome, my husband and I, and I feel that your family is not always blood. It's a lot of times your family and are your friends who you spend the most time with. So I stenciled it with acrylic black ink, archival black ink, and I'm just going around the edges with a damp paintbrush to get some of those edges off. And I was wondering if I should do home where the heart is, or if I should leave it the way it was, home is where the heart is. In the end, I decided that I was going to leave the is in there, and I'll show you how I put the piece together. I'm using my matte medium and putting that stenciled piece of tissue paper on the back, and I'm putting a nice layer of matte medium down, and then I'm going to carefully adhere that piece. Home is where. I cut the piece in half so it was a little bit easier to manage, and in the end you'll see that I got it crooked. So I will show you how I fixed that. I left quite a few little bloopers in this video, and I like to do that because I like to show you how you can overcome some mistakes that you make when you're doing mixed media or art journaling, and they're fixable. I don't have too many pieces where I have to actually gesso over yet, but I'm sure that I will have them in the future, so I am not bragging by any means. I am just letting you know that I leave the bloopers in. Putting some more matte medium down with my brush and adhering that bottom portion of the stenciled piece of tissue paper, going over the top also to adhere that down. Trying not to mess with it too much, and you see there I'm using my tweezers to take off some of that tissue paper from that die cut in the corner, because I wanted those die cut holes to be open. And here's where I think maybe I need to stop. You know, you have a feeling, don't go over it anymore, you're going to wreck it. So I had to stop. I'm glad I didn't wreck it. And I wanted to maybe do something with that heart. So I dug through my pattern paper and I found this orange and red pattern paper that had little hearts on it. And I wanted to make it at an angle. So I used my pencil and cut that piece of pattern paper out. I liked the pop that it gave to the piece. I didn't want to leave that heart just plain. I think that looks real cute. A little bit country, using an eraser just to erase my pencil lines. I'm adhering the heart with matte medium, and here's where I thought that everything started to go wrong. I felt like I needed to bring some more color to that background, and so I thought, well, I'm just going to go with my burnt sienna, the color I started with. I'm going to go with the khaki that I had from the background and just see where I can bring it. I was getting a little nervous at this stage, but you can see how it turns out, how I fixed it. Like I said, I had quite a few little bloopers here. So now I'm going over the letters and I'm like, well, that's not going to work. I should have put this paint down before I put down the writing. And I just had some challenges with this one. We'll just say that. So I'm just wiping the paint off of the letters with my damp towel, going back and forth to see if I can get that paint on the background, see if I can get it to where I like it. I was almost thinking, you know, let's just gesso over it and be done with it. But I like to challenge, so I kept working with it. I sure like the corners of the piece, and I like that heart in the middle. I thought, well, I can fix it with my burnt umber and my water. That fixes anything, right? Well, then I had another idea. I thought I really wanted to put some like vines on it with some green. And I thought, well, let's see if this vine stencil will work. It's a really thin stencil, not a very high quality by any means, and you have to be real careful. See how flimsy it is? So I thought, well, first I'll dry that paint, and then maybe if I put some easy tack on the back of the stencil, I'll be able to stick it down in little areas and it will be a little more sturdy. Well, you'll see what happens next. Keep watching. I decided I was gonna put the stencil down with my favorite green color that I have, and it is a Deco Arts and it's avocado. I just love that color, light avocado. I use it all the time. So here I'm like gonna put that easy tack on the back. I'm not even bothering to go outside. I'm just giving it a real light coat. And I thought, oh, I'll just quick dry it. Well, I melted it. I melted the stencil because it's so lightweight and fragile. I'll show you. Whoopsies. So we'll just fix that. We'll just cut that part off. And we'll see what we can do. I'm just positioning it and then sticking it down because it has that easy tack. And I thought, well, how my little project is going, I better tape some of that off with some washi tape so that I don't put it in the wrong holes and have green all over my project. So we'll see how that works. And I'm going to use that light avocado, like I said, and that is a Deco Arts paint, and real good. I love it. Just using my piece of makeup sponge and going through the stencil that is stuck down with the, I think I use Easy Tack. Gently taking it up. Ah, it works out good. So I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to put some more down on the bottom, and then I actually put some to the right of the heart. I think I did it off camera here because it did take me a little bit of time. Yep, there it is. And it's dry now. I liked how I got it to go through that the. Now see, here's where it's like, oh, we're crooked. I was using my T ruler there. I thought, well, I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Using my burnt umber and my water as a wash. And I thought, this will make it all come together. I was really challenging myself. Using my spray bottle with just water, letting it run, and getting that burnt umber in all of those corner pieces. I really like it when it pulls out that texture. And I'm using a damp towel to see if I can fix it here. I know that the letters are smudged and things, but I thought, well, I'll just fix that with my charcoal pencil. I'm gonna let it dry and I come back and there is a lot. So here's where I'm using my T ruler again. I thought if I would extend those letters down to the bottom, make them longer, then it wouldn't look like it was crooked. You let me know what you think. I think it actually really worked. I'm looking at the piece right now in a finished project and I'm like, yeah, it worked. Okay, here's something that I learned. I'm sure that many of you have done this before or thought about it. It never occurred to me before. There's so much black lettering on here and stenciling that as I'm wiping it, I feel like I'm kind of making a mess and smudging. So I'm like, well, what would be an easier way? An easier way would to be have pinkies half the size of mine, but that's not going to happen. So after about 3 whole words, I have my pan pastels over on the side. I'm like, how about if I use that black? And that absolutely worked. Using that black pan pastel with the applicator really worked on the letters. It got them really super dark, and it was easy to smudge the pan pastel with that applicator instead of my finger. So I outlined the letters with the charcoal pencil, and then I just came back in and used the corners and the tip and underneath of that applicator, and it really super worked great with that pan pastel. You just gotta be real careful because it will smudge real easy. So that's how I did all the black, and boy, does it look good. You know, it really, really pops. I definitely want to get some more of these pan pastels. I need the greens, so I have them in my cart on Amazon. I'm just kind of waiting. I'm going to put some charcoal pencil around that heart, and bam, that looks good. Then I'm going to outline the leaves and the vines, and that wasn't super easy either with my fingers. So I did work on the leaves and the vines with some of that green, that real light green, and I went in the middle of my charcoal pencil, and it worked out great. Just putting some of the brown and rust color that I have with my pan pastels in the back. I'm really loving these. It just adds color, just super quick, easy, and really brilliant colors. I also used my white pastel pencil and put those lowlights or highlights, of the whites you can see in the heart, the right hand side of the H, the M, the left hand side of the E, and all the way down through the sentiment. Home is where the heart is. And I really felt that this year over Christmas going to my friends. I felt so welcome, and I really enjoyed myself. A little black around that heart. Yeah, this is the cool stuff. I really like it. Black edge, of course, getting that. It's called a chalk writer, and it's creamy, and I can smudge it with my finger. Yep, it's about over. I didn't think it turned out too badly. I always say, let me know what you think. I really love reading your comments and, getting to know some of you because you comment, and I love that. So please do. And there's some still shots at the end, of course. And we'll see you, on Saturday for an art journal page. I wonder what it'll be. I'm excited. I hope to see you soon. And remember to comment, subscribe, and share it with a friend if you think that they would like me. Have a great night.